Hello, everybody, and welcome to So What's New in the Biscuit Tin. It's season 4, and this is episode 3. I'm Sam.
And I'm Jess, and we are so delighted to be back. We're having such a good run of recording.
Yes.
You guys don't know this, but we started recording on a Monday night, and there's actually something, I don't know, it's just quite nice, isn't it? To kick off the week with a chat, to talk about our sewing, catch up over the weekend, and it's just kind of cozy. So we hope you guys are enjoying this season. Please let us know. We've had some lovely reviews on Apple Podcast from the end of last year, but we'd love to know what you reckon to season 4 and what you think. So remember, little top of the episode plug, to review us on Apple Podcasts, to comment on Spotify, to tell your pals who might want sewing chat in their life. But we're having a great time this season, aren't we?
We are, and I'm enjoying that each episode, if you don't follow us on Instagram, it's a good place to follow us because we're asking a question related to the episode that's come out, and then we're bringing it into this episode, which is nice. It's not we've done super organised recording in advance, which is good because it means I don't have to have the pressure of the editing. But honestly, I like this organic flow of it being much more sort of live, and I'm enjoying that we've done each season differently as well. I think it means that when you go back and listen, you'll get a different feel for each season, which is cool.
Definitely. And the more episodes we do together, the more we can do in order, which is fabulous.
Yeah.
So again, if you like this style, you've got to let us know so that we don't do something totally different that you hate for season 5. So please do tell us. Now, today we are going to be talking in a little bit about, well, the prompt for this episode. The idea that we're going to be discussing, tackling in our unfiltered season is the sack dress, and the kind of proposition for the episode is that sack dresses aren't necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, and I've got some sort of juicy prompt that set this off, haven't we? We've been holding this.
We do,
yeah.
We have. But before we get there, let's revisit last week, because Sam, I think you've got some comments and reactions and stuff for us.
So I asked, following on from episode 2, which was about what happens if sewing is no longer your main hobby, your main thing. I asked people how they describe themselves. So we had quite a few responses. So sewer, or as voice dictation likes to read it, sewer.
Sewer, yeah. That's why I don't use it.
Was the main response. And quite mixed between sewer and sewist, which I thought was interesting. And then somebody said sewist. This is a person whose Instagram starts with a sewing hugs. And then I don't know what the rest is because I screenshot these. Said sewist as it encompasses different sewing makes and to me has less pressure than some of the other words. So I love that.
Okay. I like that.
And then we had somebody who said dressmaker. I can't see it now. I don't know why I can't see it. But generally the consensus was sewist or dressmaker. And I did ask people whatever they wanted to describe themselves as. But that seemed to be the general consensus. We seem to have moved away from seamstress and dressmaker, which I find quite interesting that we've sort of that's moved on.
I think they're occupations. I think that we think of dressmaking, and particularly being a seamstress, we think of that as like a job that you have that is paid, I think, as well. And there's connotations to seamstress and tailor and things that are different and very gendered. But sewist is a newer word. Sewist has come about really from social media, largely as a way of describing yourself. Part of the reason we don't really, particularly in the UK, sewer, is because it does read as sewer, which you just don't need in your life. You just don't need it. But I love that. That's really cool. I don't know. What would you describe yourself as?
Yeah, I think I use sewist. I often don't use a noun. I use sort of more of a sentence of I sew my own clothes if someone asks me.
I make my stuff.
Yeah. But I am, if I sort of go, I do say I'm a sewist who quilts, or a sewer who quilts, rather than a quilter. And it's interesting that nobody said quilter, which I thought was quite interesting because there's a lot.
That might be our audience.
Yes.
Yeah, that could be. Maybe we're not Maybe quilters don't think we talk about that kind of sewing and thus don't, because we do tend to segment ourselves as well. So if you're a quilter that listens, please tell us because we want to know.
Yes.
I also just want to throw out there, I think it's really interesting when we think about maker versus sewer, because there's some people who use maker.
Or crafter.
And I think that's really interesting because it's or crafter, which is very general. I think I would always say I sew my own clothes or I make my own clothes. It's kind of where I sit because I don't do other types of sewing really.
Yeah.
So that tends to be where I exist. But then my YouTube strapline has been since the beginning, sewing, dressmaking, and all things stitch related, which really is how I think of it in my head. Those are the things that I do.
Yeah.
It's quite active. But it's interesting. Thank you guys for responding and for telling us what you define yourself as.
And we've had a couple of great comments on the pod, which I think I'll come to in a minute. I'm loving it when people comment. But I did ask people today, because the other thing we talked about a lot was other hobbies. And so I asked people what other hobbies they had. So we had a lady whose Instagram account starts dopamine dress. So I'm going to go with dressing. She says, I sing and I lead worship at church most Sundays, but used to do choir and musicals. Love that. And also loves swimming. She says it totally resets her head. I have someone in my life who feels exactly the same about that. Then we've got Hannah Sews, and she says running, reading, and baking. So you go, another runner there.
Yay, another runner. Tell me if you run and listen to this podcast, please tell me, because it's endlessly cool to me. It's so cool that we might be getting you through your long run, particularly if you're marathon training. So yeah, let us know. And we'll put some kind of encouragement halfway through the episodes, if you are doing that.
You can do it. I feel like who did I used to have when I did the Couch to 5K? I'm trying to think of the voice of who I had. He was an athlete. I can't think of who I had.
I used to have Denise Lewis, who I loved. Denise Lewis was great.
I can't think who it was. Knit sews, unsurprisingly, said knitting. So that would be,
you shock us.
Yes. So, that was great. So it's nice to see that people have got range of hobbies. I will go to the comments because we had a couple of really good comments. So Gillian said she laughed when I mentioned the feeling you get when sewing jersey. She said that's her too. So I love that. And then Sarah, who has been on the podcast, Sarah of My Handmade Wardrobe, wrote that she loved the episode and she said she was nodding along all the way because obviously Sarah's not just her hobby is sewing, her entire job is sewing. So if sewing wasn't your thing, that would be quite scary. She says, I believe that the selection of fabric, planning the make, deciding what finishing methods to use, what details to add or leave off are all part of the joy of making for me. And thinking about sewing to your style for you rather than others. I am an unashamedly selfish sewist and it lets me be my best self. My fear is that I love and live sewing, and if I can't do it anymore for some reason, I need a backup hobby or two. So that's
a huge thing. I love that. And thank you for sharing that with us as well. Obviously, guest extraordinaire. We've had Sarah on twice, and she is fabulous. If you would like to go listen to the episodes with Sarah, you can do that. They are great, one of which involves a fantastic sleeve quiz, which was legitimately one of the best quizzes I've ever done. So thank you, Sam, for that. But yeah, I think that's such an important thing, particularly if sewing was your hobby. In Sarah's case, was her job well before she got into sewing patterns, like in the indie space, because she was a commercial pattern cutter. Like, it must be hard when your work and your hobby life blur as well. So if any other indie pattern company people are listening, we hope you are because we love you.
Yes.
We'd love to know what else you do as well to decompress, or whether you sew differently in your own time to what you do for work.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to know.
In a very different context, I attended the Southern Social, so thank you so much to all the lovely ladies at Southern Social for making me feel very welcome. I haven't been for a long time, so that was really nice, and I got to do some sewing, and I particularly appreciated the group becoming a impromptu fit clinic for the pattern I was having, shall we euphemistically say, issues with. But I have been very, very busy because it is coming up to March. Not long to go now until Sew Yellow for Endo 2026. We are back. Honestly, it is. This year has been a challenge to get everything together, and I am by no means together. So when you listen to this and you want to sponsor or be a part of the vlog at all, get in touch because I would love to have you. But it's our 5th year, and actually we're quite close to raising a cumulative total of 10k over 5 years. So we're going bigger than better than ever. And particularly, Sam is a key instrumental part of this. The So Yellow party is back with a new location and a new date. So, date for your diaries, 29th of March, Sunday the 29th of March, 2026, obviously, but just for the avoidance of doubt in case you're listening to this next year or something. And the party is going to be at the site of the hallowed site of the Southern Social in Prince's Risborough. So Prince's Risborough is accessible via the M40 if you drive. It's also accessible on main train lines from Birmingham, Oxford and London. So hopefully you can come and join us. The exact details, times, etc. will all be shared very shortly. Sam is a key member of the party planning committee, which is really just both of us. So a huge thank you, and I hope we'll see some of you there. But that's
Can
not
I
the
just
only
say
thing we're
some
preparing for.
transport
Yeah.
things?
Yes,
When
please.
Jeff says it's on a main train line, we're talking only a 9-minute walk from the train station, a very quick, easy walk. Parking wise, there is a big car park nearby. There's other car parks as well. And when I say nearby, I mean like a 3-minute walk.
Yeah.
And there is disability parking as well, as long as it's not all used up. It's all on one floor, so there's no stairs, nothing else to navigate. And it's right in the heart of Princess Risborough as well. It's in a part of Buckinghamshire where you can get to it both ways from the M40 really easy. So you can get from Oxfordshire, Bedfordshire, Hertfordshire. It's really easy to get to, which is why we chose it. Not just because I know it well, but also it's really easy to get to.
So this is so exciting, and I'm always nervous about the party because I hope somebody shows up. But we've had a lovely couple of years, the last few years, and it's been so special getting to talk to people. So I hope we'll see loads of you there. As always, I will publish Eventbrite links for tickets, all that kind of stuff within the next week. So by the time this episode comes out, you'll be able to see all of that, and I hope we'll see lots of you there. But before we get to the end of March, there's something else happening, isn't there, Sam?
Oh, yes, we are jamming it in this year, aren't we?
Yes, we
Spring
are.
is a big one for us because I've got a talk in February as well. So on the 20th of March, which is the Friday at the Stitch Festival at 11 a.m, we are recording a live podcast edition, which will go out onto obviously our streaming services afterwards. But we would love it if you can come and listen if you're there on the Friday or trying to decide. And Jess has a discount code.
I do. So I'm going to read it out letter by letter. So if you would like £2 off normal tickets, now this code does apply to the weekend, but we'd really like you to apply it to Friday so you can come and see the live podcast. The code is SWNITBT. So what's new in the biscuit tin? It is all of our letters. So use that code to get £2 off any tickets for the Stitch Festival. Terms and conditions are on the post on our Instagram, and we will add to the show notes as well, so you can see it on the episode. So you can grab yourself a ticket with a little bit of a discount to come see us on the Stitch stage at 11 a.m. So we're so excited, aren't we?
We are planning what we're going to do. It is your opportunity to get opinions out of us, see what you can do to us when we're live, when I can't edit it.
Yeah. A couple of people have commented that actually on the Stitch Festival collaboration post, and I was like, you guys know us well. really well. So it's going to be chaos. We're going to be in beautiful outfits. We're going to be having a fantastic time. We hope you are too. We are also, I think I'm allowed to say this, but details to follow. We have some tickets to give away for our lovely subscribers. So stay tuned for our fabulous subscribers on Ko-fi for an opportunity to get some free tickets for the day if you haven't got your ticket already. So stay tuned. Now, I want to know what you've been up to, Sam.
I was sewing with you at the Southern Social.
You were?
sewing a new indie pattern to me. I'm not going to say what it is because I'm going to do a review on YouTube. And that
Very
leads
nice.
me to what else I shared with everyone at the Southern Social, which was a rather fabulous cake, wasn't it?
It was
Because
incredible.
because my very kind family of my partner and my stepdaughter organised a cake for me to celebrate the fact that I reached 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. And so I took the cake along, woohoo, and shared it with everyone. So that was really nice because it was just nice to share. And I shared with everyone a lovely card that my stepdaughter did me, which was completely unprompted. And I think her dad said the words, "I rode on your coattails of how much you organised for this." She organised the cake and everything as well, bless her. So much kudos.
Honestly, it was so gorgeous and it was so special for everyone. Everyone was so ready as well, like to celebrate you because you deserve it. If you don't subscribe to Sam and you listen to this podcast, why not? Please go and subscribe to Sam. You can actually subscribe to both of us, but
Yes.
my channel is slightly more ad hoc. Whereas Sam is like very regular and, appointment to view. So make sure that you are subscribing on YouTube. You can find us both there. That's particularly good if we're in one of our podcast hiatuses. So you can always find us somewhere.
Yeah,
but
can I do a bit extra?
Yeah. Well, exactly. But we have to say the most enormous. I say we as if there's someone else at the podcast in addition to me, you.
Yeah.
But as a podcast audience and me leading them, we have to say the biggest congratulations to
Thank
Sam
you.
because you have worked so hard on this, and it's such a joy as your friend to see. Like, it makes me so happy.
And
You're
one of the
smashing it.
ladies, quite rightly, who's not really in the world of these things, did say to me, "Why is 10,000 really special?" And I said to her, "Well, when I started out 2.5 years ago, my family said to me, my stepdaughter at the time, as you know, Jess, was super suspicious and like dubious about all of this. And they said to me, "How will you know if you've made it?" And I just said very arbitrarily, "Well, if I got 10,000 subscribers, that would be amazing because that feels really high and most people don't have that in the sewing community." Now, obviously other people do, and congratulations to them as well. But I just sort of named it as a thing. But I have since found out that it does affect, like you get your own direct type web address on YouTube as well and things like that, which I didn't know. It was just one of those things that I sort of named, and then we had like as a running joke as a family, and and that's when they said, "Oh well, if you ever get it, we'll get you a cake." So it was just, and I think we all have like little goals and things. It just happened that was the thing that became the thing in my family. So yeah, you don't get like a plaque or anything from YouTube.
But it is cool. I feel the same about hitting 10K on Instagram, which I am very close to actually. So if someone would like to help me out with that, please do. But it's one of those things where in your head when you start, you go, "Oh, that would be cool." Like you think of 1,000, and then things change at 1,000 with how your algorithm works.
Yeah.
And then you kind of go, "Oh, 10K would be cool," but it doesn't feel real, right, for a long time.
No.
And you go, "Oh, maybe," and then actually it does change a lot. It changes how people find you. It changes like legitimacy. It changes all that kind of stuff for like YouTube. Not saying that channels with less aren't legitimate, but from a technical YouTube standpoint, they go, "Oh, okay," and start pushing you at people, which is really exciting because you're technically like a medium channel or something.
Yes, and I was explaining that to the lady that like it's the way YouTube views like your channel size. But it's been a part of the like ongoing fun thing as a family is that for the last year they've been trying to guess when they thought I would get it because we all like a bit of maths.
That's fun.
We did like
going.
Yeah, a little bit of stats, and of course I'm going, "Oh wow, probably not till like and Tilly was like going, "Oh, I think," that's my stepdaughter together, "Oh, I think da da da." So there was a bit of like smugness about the person who named closest to when I was gonna get it as well.
That's so good.
Yeah, and
it's been a celebratory time.
Sorry,
no, absolutely. Like it is so cool. I think for people of Tilly's age. Like they understand a platform way more than like even people our age and our relative ages and older. But like for Tilly's generation, that's a big deal. So
yeah, one of the ladies at the station said, "Well, that's more people than live in the village that I live in." And then that's when you go, "Oh."
Yeah. I remember when I first hit, like, I think it was when I first hit 1,000 or something.
Yeah.
You get an email, when I first did it, you get an email from YouTube that says, it's this many, like, 747 planes worth of people.
Right.
That's what I got, and I remember being like, "Whoa, that's actually,
You
like,"
don't even
I'm
get
now
any
thinking
email
of
from
it as an
YouTube now.
airport.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't It's changed a lot, though, in, like, 6
It
years.
has.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
But no, this is so exciting. A huge congratulations,
Thank you.
and I can't wait to see what you do next with your channel as well.
Wow, Jess. Are you going to comment on what you made at the social today, or are you saving that?
No, we're doing this at the end, and we're doing this
Okay.
very specifically.
Right.
I'm not gonna comment on the make itself because I
Yeah.
wore it today, and
Yeah.
actually, with all of the adjustments,
Mm-hmm.
it was fine. It was nice.
Cool.
But I have a thought that I would like to expand upon later in the episode.
There till the end of the episode, then, is all I
Yeah.
can say.
I've got
And
thoughts, lads. I've got thoughts.
yeah, we're being very cryptic because I'm saying you got to go and watch my YouTube to see my thoughts about the trousers I made as well. So, it's not the most meaty sewing content, although
No, but it's gonna get there.
yeah. What I can say though is I made a second Tammy handmade Faye at the social. I made it in an Indian block print, and it was like a cream with like a browny black sort of geometric print with like a geometric tigers hidden in it. We'll just take a bit. Jess is already laughing because she knows that I'm about to say what Mary said to me. Mary, the legend Mary. So Mary looked over at me and she went, "It's not very you colours, is it?" She said, "I don't think you're ever going to wear that, are you?" And I said, "People can wear different things at different times." And by the way, Mary is allowed to roast me. She's earned her credit to be allowed to do that. And I went, "Might do." She went, "No, I don't think you'll wear it." And then she looked at me again. She went, "Have you been called in for a disciplinary? And are you making this as a smart outfit for a disciplinary?"
She did. And then later in the social, you said that.
Yeah.
She looked up and went, "Yep," and just kept nodding away as she was sewing, like, I'm completely right. Oh, it was so great.
And she was like, "How are you going to get told off for wearing too bright an outfits to work and you're wearing this to the telling off?" That's what she was saying.
I don't think she'd mind me saying this. Do you know what Mary said to me?
What did she say
I
to
was
you?
working on a blouse, and obviously we were doing this sort of impromptu fit clinic. And she comes over, and I can see she's got ideas in her head. So, she's having a look. And she goes, "What are you planning on doing with it?" And I was like, "Well, I'm planning on wearing it, Mary. What do you think I'm going to do with it?" Then she was just like, "Ah."
Yeah.
And then went on to a very specific discussion about darts. But I was looking at her like, "What do you think I'm going to do with it? We're going to sew it into the sofa."
Display it? Yeah.
She's so great. I love her so much.
Yeah.
And if you've ever met Mary, well, you can listen to her episode as well.
Yes.
She's fantastic. It's one of our first episodes we did.
Yep, she's coming to
She
the
will be.
party. You get the chance to get some true Maryism there. And also, much credit to Mary. She was sassing around, first of all, in a Tammy handmade Faye that she made with fabric from the swaps table. It was a lovely double gauze fabric with embroidery. And her own self-drafted trousers,
which was very impressive. Like, they looked so good. I didn't even know if they were me made or not. They looked so good.
Right,
The
they were
fact she
looking
drafted them, they were phenomenal.
Yeah.
Oh, so impressed. So we do love you, Mary. Even though you told us Sam she looked like she was going to a disciplinary hearing, which will never not be funny. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So we have got some stuff to talk about.
We have.
And Sam, do you want to give us, how much context do you want to give us from where this comes from?
Right. So cast your minds back to August 2025. And if you're in the UK, the Great British Sewing Bee was on TV. For non-UK listeners, Great British Sewing Bee is about 10 or 11 episodes long, and it is a sewing competition-y thing. And it was an episode where at the beginning they have like a pattern challenge. So each week Esme picks a pattern. Sometimes I recognise the patterns that she gives the sewing challenge to do. And this time they didn't pick a pattern. They picked a zero waste set of instructions on, I think it was a zero waste jacket, if I remember rightly, that they were asked to make.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of pattern shops and fabric shops that after the Sewing Bee episode will often do like an inspiration blog post, video, social media thing to help people find the patterns, to help people find the fabrics, because I start to recognise one of the fabrics now as well.
Yes.
And so the lovely Fold line, quite appropriately because their business is patterns, put out a social media post saying, here's some inspiration on where you can find zero waste patterns. I, for some reason, which I don't often do, it was on Facebook, clicked on the comments. Well, of course, back in August, Jess was then sent by me A, the post, and B, some of the comments. Now, I knew that the Fold line wouldn't be able to take people to task, whatever their own personal philosophies were, because they're a business and they don't want to offend customers. I, on the other hand, can. So we shall leave people's names nameless in this, but the first comment that triggered me went along the lines of, no wonder there's a weight problem with clothes that don't fit and hide a world of overweight bodies. Bring back the fitted styles with a belted waist and see some shape. Now, if you are a regular listener, I'm sure you can imagine my reaction.
Those have got all of your keywords. That's all of the words that annoy you, like strung together in all of the possible ways. That's, oh my God.
Yes. So would you like, I'm happy to read what I wrote because I still stand by what I wrote. I wrote the following. I had to read your comment a few times because I was so taken aback when I first read it. I was like, is this real, what I'm reading? Not everyone wants to wear fitted clothes. Clothes are for expressing yourself, comfort and joy, not to fit our bodies into patriarchal capitalist models of what is acceptable. So I went quite highbrow there with my response. Things went on. People were describing these zero waste patterns as shrouds that should be used in hospitals. Bring back the days of Audrey Hepburn. It got worse and worse. And actually, today, in preparation for today's episode, I went back into the Fold line post. They have removed all comments, which I can't blame them for, actually, because I'm pretty sure when they put the inspiration out there, they weren't expecting the backlash that came. They were probably a little bit shocked. People saying zero waste equals zero taste. Call me old fashioned, but these aren't elegant.
Again, very subjective terms. Yeah, I think so. I think the thing is here, I think we have to separate. You're allowed to prefer certain clothes for your body. You're also allowed to look at a silhouette and go, I like that. That looks really good. You're not allowed to say these uniformly are terrible. Like, you just don't have to make them. That's the thing. Now, I will say there are some zero waste patterns out there that I think are incredibly dull. Would I wear them? No. Would I make them? No. But there are people who make them who look fantastic and do things I never would have thought of with them. So the decision I've made, and I think we can all agree this is what everyone should be doing, is going, that's not a thing I like. I'm not going to make it. There are people acting like we're removing all of the other patterns from the market. And you're like, no, this is all you're allowed. This is your sort of dystopian shift, nightmare, slop patterns for you. That's what you're allowed. That's not what we're doing. It's just if you want to try a zero waste pattern because fabric's expensive, you can do it. That's okay. A lot of them are free as well, or very low cost, which I think is good. But
also,
we just
don't
have
require any printing to be able to make the pattern. So cost-wise or environmentally wise, or storage wise, if you don't want to have lots of paper PDFs or spend 5 hours printing out A4 and sticking them together, this is more like a mathematical approach.
Yeah.
But I agree with you, Jess. I think it goes back to one of our previous seasons where I think it was even our episode was called this. You can say, this is not for me.
Yeah.
That is totally cool. What you can't do is pronounce to the entire world that no one should wear this, and it's almost like, sacrilegious sin.
I've also just had a thought. It's not like we're going into, I'm assuming this woman, but it might not have been, just based off the demographics of this person. Let's go with this person. I like the idea that this woman or this person has not only had such a gut response to this hiding all of these bodies, bring back the belted waist. We're not taking away her belts. She can keep wearing them.
You can
It's
put
okay.
on the zero waist if you want.
And the thing is, lots of people do. Lots of people add ties. Lots of people do all sorts of stuff. No one's taking your belts away, babe. It's all right. It's okay. Like, it's just, you don't even thought. And you go, you can still do that, though. Because the beauty of a shift dress is that you can belt it. And you can tie it. And you can wear a waistcoat over it. Or you can wear a jumper. Or you can just wear it and exist.
Yes.
But the idea, I think, of hiding overweight bodies it's just so insidious, actually. And you just don't have to think about it.
But to me, to suggest that having what is now very popular, the buffet dress, which is available in all high streets during the summer, to suggest that the advent of the buffet dress is the reason why people are overweight. I can't even wrap my brain around how someone would correlate those two things.
But that's how you can be like, everyone who's all left-handed people will die eventually. No, everyone will. It's just some people have left hands. Correlation and causation are not the same.
No.
People are not looking at a buffet dress going, oh, thank God I can gain 30% of my body mass.
Thank God I can eat 3 cheesecakes today.
Yeah. No.
By the way, if someone wants to eat 3 cheesecakes, please eat 3 cheesecakes because go for it. But that whole concept of thinking that distresses me. But also what distresses me as well is there like a fear of comfort and ease and softness? Is this scaring people?
Yeah, I think when it comes to fashion, we are again, we're going to separate two things here. You should feel comfortable in your body, and if that means that you're whatever size you are, or some people want to be a different size, or like they want to be fitter, or whatever it is, whatever that looks like for you, as long as you're happy in your own body, I'm happy with that, fine. But fashion tends to be synonymous with women being in pain in their clothes, women being in discomfort, women being restricted, and that was the norm for a long time. And then you look at like Chanel and the advent of Chanel. The first things that Chanel is famous for is creating the dropped waist in the 20s so that women could bend down to pick up their children.
Yes.
She created the tweed suit so that women had an equivalent of a men's suit, because we think of suits as smart. They're not. They're a uniform.
Yes.
She created that for women so they had something practical to wear to work. Now, we have seen with the Grammys, and we're going to circle back to the Grammys at the end of the episode for a little update. There is lots of fashion, like Heidi Klum was wearing that dress that she couldn't walk in.
Yes, we did mention it slightly. It's like a Barbie body form strapped on the outside of her body. Yeah,
exactly. And she looked all right, like stood, but it was very, very difficult for her to move in. And I think we have a tendency to think the best fashion is the fashion that makes us look according to a sort of patriarchal fashion ideal, which changes every 5 years.
The photograph she shared of the sores on her legs.
No.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised though, because that looked like the equivalent of a Louboutin heel, but in a dress.
Yeah. But again, what my mind is blown by the fact that you would wear something that would cause sores on your legs and not think, why am I doing this? I need to get, and I have to say, I think this is actually is quite a political topic, this one. It's body politics, but also political. All the while women are in pain and discomfort with their clothes, it's distracting us from other things.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, if you think about the way women's bodies are policed through fashion, we stopped having pockets in clothes because women were carrying revolutionary pamphlets.
Yeah.
If you say fashion isn't political, you're wrong.
Yes. And even if you think, well, I don't dress politically, a choice of not doing it is a choice of not engaging as well, which is still political. And I think that I mean, I would go as far as to say that sometimes being swayed to do something like Heidi Klum has done is allowing us to be consumed by something trivial that we will allow to harm our bodies rather than being angry and cross about things that deserve our attention. That's how big I would go with it. And other people are like, they go, whoa,
Yeah.
it's just an outfit. But I really don't think it is. And I think people who can feel that they can tell other people what they should or shouldn't wear are being pulled into this. I had a lady write on my YouTube, I can't remember if I said it last week, but I'm going to say it again, pronouncing that adults shouldn't wear quilted jackets. She thought it was okay to write on my YouTube, adults shouldn't wear quilted jackets, make a table runner instead.
My God. I don't know how to respond to that truly without
I responded
various
with
extensive
with what we say, which is I wrote, maybe this is not the video for you, because it was my follow-up quilted jacket. I wear my quilted jacket. Perhaps quilted jackets are not for you. And what I really loved was someone else commented with, au contraire. Which I love.
Do you know what I want you to do? Is I actually want you to put on all or as many of your quilted jackets on at once as you can and then attempt to run down a table and respond to her and be like, is this what you meant? That's so insane to adults don't wear quilted jackets. It's like, all right,
one can say, this is not for me, but you don't get to tell everyone else. But I think there is still a fear. And I think people try to catch me out because sometimes I still accidentally use the word flattering. I grew up for the first 30 years of my life with it being a thing. That actually we think that we should still be allowed to say it. Well, do you understand it? Because it's about external patriarchal gaze. And that's what this whole, I think this is what this whole zero waste thing is really about.
Well, it is. I want to throw something else out here though. Okay. This is a bit of a thought I need to develop. Mm-hmm. So on the one hand, sack dresses, buffet dresses, whatever, that silhouette is positively transgressive because it allows you to wear something that you can freely move your body in. Mm-hmm. However, and again, we're going to get political for a second, with the turn towards right-wing politics, we are also seeing more fashion that is loose and covers up our bodies and is high-necked and long-skirted and more conservative. So there is also an argument for people who want fit because we have more fitted garments generally in eras that are slightly more liberal.
Yeah,
we tend to get more revealing clothes in more liberal spaces. Miniskirts get shorter in recessions because we spend our money and we want to, show off in different ways because we can't show off in traditional ways. So there is also something to be said about the rise of what my sister referred to the other day as Little House on the Prairie dresses, which are not a form of freedom either. Because they are covering women from ankle to all the clothes. So my sister gave birth 6 months ago and she popped into M&S recently to see if there was anything she fancied, because obviously she's in a new phase of her life and looking at new types of clothes, etc. And I was on the phone to her and she was like, yeah, everything looked like it was at Little House on the Prairie. Everything looked almost Handmaid's Tale-esque, where every inch of me was covered. And I think that's really interesting, right? Because we've gone from looser clothes in COVID, which was because we were all actually sat in our clothes and going, oh, this is uncomfortable. And we're having hotter summers, so we're seeing more blousy summer clothing. But we are also seeing an increase of much more conservative fashion. Neither of those, however, are arguments to tell people you're scared of seeing fat people in clothes, which is basically what that woman's comment says.
And neither of those should be an excuse for taking away people's choice. And I think this is what it is about choice. And that's why I think you and I both say, because we don't want to wear what the shops and capitalism tell us to wear. And I also don't want some lady on Facebook telling me.
No. I always think it's really interesting when people do comment on what you wear and you're like, oh, we see this differently. We don't agree here. And it's bizarre because people don't say, have you thought about this? They go, you shouldn't do that. And you're like, okay, you shouldn't write this, but here we are.
Yeah. And I think the thing is, I actually, this is unfiltered. So I actually don't like to wear a dress that is so loose that it goes from my chest and keeps going downwards, because whilst I've worked very hard, as you know, as I've talked about on many episodes, how I feel about my body, I do like to make like a tie waist that pulls it in a bit round the back. I don't want a super tight waist, but just creates a bit of shape that I feel comfortable with. I'm not looking for like a super,
Makes you happy.
Yeah.
Like, you just like
Yes,
it.
exactly.
That's okay.
So I'm a huge advocate of zero waste and people wearing whatever shape or shapeless they want. But I actually, if I made zero waste, I would be adding a belt.
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
like a
so
belt
would
belt.
I.
I like a fabric one, because it's just how I like to wear things. And I think I want to add in about sensory at this point, and I think this fits with
Yeah.
talking about So Yellow, Friendo, and also just general sensory, that I don't like certain feels on certain parts of my body, because it makes me think about that part of my body, and then it takes my mind off being able to be like, we are here, being fully present in the moment. And there is a previous bonus episode that we've released called Those Trousers Don't Do Anything For You, where you can listen to me talk about that a bit more. But for example, I have trousers on today with an elasticated waist, but I like them because of where they sit on my waist, and they don't make me think about my menopause pooch or the fact that I've got awful period pains right now, and I can wear them and feel comfortable. And I think that no one else can know what we feel like in our clothes.
No. And I actually think as well, I would really encourage anyone who's looking at people in really loose clothes going, oh, they're hiding their fat body. I cannot get over, by the way, that this woman's like hiding overweight bodies. Crazy. But if you're looking at people like that, you have to remember you don't actually know what's going on in their life. And so, for example, when I had my endometriosis surgery, I had 5 big incisions on my stomach. I had a lot of issues. So I couldn't wear anything tight at all. So I had to, before my surgery, go out and buy some stuff that didn't really touch my stomach at all. And that was actually quite hard at the time because it wasn't in fashion and I wasn't really sewing at that point.
Yeah.
Whereas I didn't really have, the time. But I sewed quite a lot in my recovery. But it was one of those spaces where it's really quite difficult. But I will never forget being in, and this is a cautionary tale for anyone who's ever looked at someone else and gone, oh, they're wearing that. Because you might not know why. I was in the doctor's waiting room waiting to get my stitches out that were suspending my ovaries. So, I just had to get a woman to cut them and take them out. And because of the post-surgery issues with, my stomach being filled with, gel and things, I looked a little bit pregnant. And this is important for the story because I had that kind of lower stomach area. And I was wearing, a pair of harem pants I've had for 20 years that are from New Look. And they're so strict, they're my hospital trousers because they're really, really soft there. And I'm wearing those, I'm wearing a big jumper, and I'm really struggling to walk, and Adam's there, and he's helping hold my stomach, and we're walking in really slowly because it really hurts to walk. And this old woman, or she must have been, in her 80s, late 80s, really, she had a walker and she was really sweet, but she was looking at us like, oh, young couple. And then I had to lift my top to rearrange my stitches, and she went from to as she saw my stomach covered in bandages and everything. Yeah. And it was this proper moment. I always think of it, I'm like, you have no idea what's going on in someone's body. I mean, not that they have to have anything going on either. They might just be the way they are. But you also have no idea.
Yeah.
You have no idea if someone's wearing that buffet dress because they have a stoma and it's easiest for them. You have no idea if they have just had surgery. You have no idea if they have major sensory issues and it will cause them to have a sensory meltdown if anything's touching their legs. You just don't know any of that. So I also think we know enough now to know we shouldn't be judging people on what they choose to wear.
And we know enough now. No, to not assume someone's being lazy or any of those other things that mean we just need to not have an opinion on other people. They can do their thing and you do your thing. And I just think, it's just...
Well, also, I want to throw out there, for example, because I remember I started on Instagram very much in the age where that Zara buffet dress went viral and that's showing me made buffet dresses. Yeah. So that's roughly when I started my Instagram. And And I remember everyone going crazy. And I'm not throwing shade at this pattern because it looks amazing on other people. But the Friday Pattern Company Wilder gown is the ultimate expression of the buffet dress because it's high neck, tie sleeved, and like a tent. And it's beautiful and it's really flowy on other people. But I looked at that and someone was like, oh my God, you should try that. And I was like, no, because I'm 5'2". I'm going to look like a ghost. Literally, like I've dressed up as a ghost for Halloween and I'm just floating around with absolutely
And I'll just
no
look like Miss Havisham in it. So.
Exactly. This is what we don't need in our lives. But we can make that decision for ourselves and go, do you know what? That's not going to work.
No.
Like in the same way I look at a pattern with like tiny, tiny straps sometimes and go, I can't wear a bra with that. So it's not going to happen.
I mean, my bra strap is 3 times wider than that strap.
Yeah, exactly. And you're like, that's just not going to, none of this is going to work. But we can crucially make those decisions for ourselves.
And I can see other people who've made beautiful Wilder gowns, and I can appreciate the beauty of them, and still say, but I know it's not going to work for me because that's just not for me. And I think that's the thing is, we've got to move past this pronouncing for everyone. What I'm going to do is take this full circle back to the fold line, who actually gave some advantages of zero waste patterns, because we've kind of talked about why they should be allowed. So I thought if you're happy, Jess, I'll just share some of them.
Yeah, go for it, please.
So they said more flexibility. This method allows for easy changes, such as using different fabric widths and making simple fit and design changes yourself, using patterns that fit into a zero waste rectangle or rectangular block is a very efficient way to work. It means it's easier to patchwork together remnants or use leftover fabrics you have lying around. It's an easy way to learn to self-draft your own patterns. Working this way will help you to start building a toolbox of skills, and you will learn an alternative method of self-drafting. And number 3, less fabric and paper waste. Now, this was quite interesting. There was a bit of a more intelligent debate in the comments at the time about whether it uses less fabric or whether zero waste is zero waste. And I think, again, it's not for us to decide on someone else's philosophy. They might prefer to use the whole piece of fabric and not have any scraps left over. Someone else might be happy having scraps left over to use for other projects and see that as zero waste because they use the scraps in other ways. This is termed zero waste because there is no waste from the pattern construction.
Yeah. There's nothing left over when you cut it out.
Yeah. Not that people are being wasteful by making things other ways. Again, it's not a comment on other types. Brigitte Helmerson is obviously the big zero waste pattern designer. I think she's got a whole book, hasn't she?
Yeah, she does, yeah.
I think also the great thing about zero waste is it's totally size inclusive because you're drafting it yourself.
It's proportionate.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it means that you can then draft it to any size up or down that what you want, and you don't have to then get the pattern reprinted if your body changes shape. You just rescale it. So I think I really feel like I want to try one. I haven't done yet. There's lots of suggestions on the fold line on their blog. If anyone is interested, you can go and have a look. And I think there is a whole book you can buy that takes you through all the steps as well.
If you so wish to, there's also some really good zero waste free patterns out there as well. It is something to explore. I know for me that the silhouettes don't do much for me, as in I don't feel like they add anything. I use that phrase advisedly because I don't think they add anything to my wardrobe.
Yeah.
I mean that in a very I view my wardrobe as like I don't know what the term is, but I view it a little bit like sort of it's my collection. And if I'm like, do you know, it's not, I'm at a phase now where I'm like, it's not really giving me much. But if I wanted to learn to sew in this way, that would be my first stop. It would be my first stop going, right, I need to understand ratios. So like, for example, that's how I learned to cut circle skirts, was from my mum on FaceTime going, right, you need a quarter of this measurement, you need this measurement at the bottom, you need to go there. Like cutting by ratios and learning that way is really useful because it is a really key piece of knowledge to understand sewing better.
Yeah,
so
I have to say, at some point I probably will do a deep dive into it because you know I love a deep dive. I'm just not there at the moment.
You can't be not.
No.
But no, and maybe that could be a fun summer thing as well because zero waste stuff's really good in the summer.
Yeah,
because you can use that lovely kind of those cottons and everything that are like really airy if it's a hot summer, and you get to like actually just breeze about, which is really nice.
Yeah.
So I think I really enjoyed that conversation, actually. I really like that. As always, we went to places we didn't imagine we'd go. But we have now got a couple of things to talk about that are a little bit different. So I've got 2 things for you. One of them, I'm going to warn you, is going to be slightly ranty. And one of them I want your opinion on, that's a follow-up from last week. So which one do you want first?
Go on, get on with that rant. We've had a good old rant this episode.
Okay.
Go for it.
Right. Okay. So I made a pattern that will remain nameless. Remain nameless. That's quite hard to say fast. Because I don't want to throw indie pattern brands under the sort of bus, as it were. Because also, it's not just this pattern company that does it. If it was, I'd name them, but it's not. They are a microcosm for an issue that I'm extremely angry about. Now, I learnt to sew 10 years ago. Maybe before. Oh, no, longer. Oh, God. What year is it? 2026?
2026.
Okay, I've been sewing for 12 years.
Yeah.
And I was taught to sew by my mother, who's a costume designer. And I was told that all seam allowances, as standard, are 5/8 of an inch. Now, every single Big Four pattern follows this. It's one of the only things, the Big Four, you can, not look at any instructions and know. The seam allowance will be 5/8 of an inch.
Au contraire.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes, I was watching Julie sews her own clothes the other day. She was making this beautiful blouse. She said she had to, it was written on the pattern pieces only, and they were varying it, and there was places where it was 3/8, and she had to go back to the instructions and write all the differences on, because they weren't putting it in the instructions. Yes, she was only putting they were only putting it on the pattern pieces.
Okay, that might be a newer Big Four then, because the older ones are only 5/8 of an inch throughout. Because Mary and I were discussing this, as me and my mum, where occasionally, if you have a collar, it will say
this wasn't a collar.
So clearly a newer one. But the old school way of doing it was 5/8 of an inch as standard. We all agreed that was great because it's a big enough seam allowance to actually do stuff in. Now, I did a sewing pattern recently that had 6 different seam allowances. And they were marked on the pattern pieces on the different edges. I had a collar that was 0.6, 0.6, 1, 1, 0.61.
That's shocking.
What am I meant to do with that? Also, can I just say, worst collar construction I've ever seen. And
can I just say, if that was me, I don't pay attention to seam allowances at the best of times.
Well, so neither do I normally. But you know when you're picking up a pattern piece, and luckily it happened right at the beginning with the front, and I looked at it and I was like, hang on, why is the shoulder 1 and the underarm is 1.5? Hang on, why is this here? And then I started to notice all of the pieces had different seam allowances on all of the sides. All of them.
Dear listeners, tell us.
I honestly, I can't. I need you guys to tell me if I'm going insane.
Yeah.
Because I think that is insane. I will accept, I'm not happy about it, but I will accept a 1 centimetre seam allowance throughout with tiny adjustments for bias binding or whatever.
I'm not a fan
of 1 centimetre. I will not accept this. I will not live like this. This is ridiculous. And it's so annoying. And also, I'll be honest, 0.6 is not on anyone's machine. Neither is 0.8. Neither is 5 mil. There are no lines for these.
Write them in metric and imperial. That winds me up as well.
Oh, it really does. It really, really does. Because, come on, all sewing machines have got either both or just imperial on them.
Yes, most of them have.
Because most sewing machines are made in America.
Yeah. Let's just just write them on. Yeah.
Can I also say, okay, I might be giving it away here, but I will staunchly defend that I'm not being specific. Because actually there was someone else making a pattern with the same thing. Why did we decide that women's shirts don't have normal plackets? Why did we decide at some point that a little stupid bias-bound placket is easier than an actual placket? Because it's not easier.
No, it's not.
Awkward and weird, and you get a tiny pucker at the top, which is really stupid. I don't know who I've become. I like sleeve plackets. Because when you do them wrong, it's really annoying, right? fair enough, because you're cutting the
Yeah.
slit stuff. But when you do them right, they're so beautiful. And once you've learnt them, it's like learning French seams. You're like, oh, a skill I can do. And then I was looking at a sleeve the other day going, oh, great, okay, sleeve placket, fine. And then I was looking at the placket piece and I was like, what? It's so little and like oddly long. What are we doing? Like, I could have
Yeah.
probably done a proper placket, but it wasn't drafted for it. So I was like, is this going to use too much room? So I think pockets and plackets we're allowed to have in men's and women's patterns. It's okay. It's
Yeah.
fine. We are allowed, guys. I don't know if they're harder to draft, maybe, but they can't be that much harder because the piece is a rectangle and it's a slit in the
Yeah.
sleeve. It can't be that hard.
No.
Like, so I don't know. I don't know if I'm being silly. What do you think?
I just think maybe sometimes is it about the pattern designer trying to make their pattern different so that it's not accused of being like another pattern, which we've talked about before. It's like how many tweaks do you need to make because how many different shirt patterns or blouse patterns or trouser patterns can you make? And that's the thing is what are they trying to do? That's what I think. Now I'm very mindful of time. So do you want to go on to the other thing? Because I'm desperate to know about the other thing.
Okay. So last week, thank you, by the way, for letting me get that off my chest. Please tell us. We'll put a comment up.
Yeah.
I want to know, firstly, the most different seam allowances you've had in a pattern. Make me feel better. Feel free to private message me who it was so I can avoid them like the plague.
Yeah.
Not that I will share that on the podcast, but just for my own sanity and probably everyone around me. But also tell us if I'm being silly or if we think it's gone too far with the number of different seam allowances.
Yeah.
So last week we talked about the Grammys.
Yes.
And notably had the little section where we realised Harry Styles was wearing jeans and a nice top, which I still find funny with every photo.
But he had a kilt on at one point as well, so I'm really confused.
It's very confusing.
Yeah.
So I have two things for you. Chapel Roan. Have you read about this?
I have not, no.
Those aren't her boobs. They're prosthetic.
What?
There's a weird, yes. So, because she doesn't have, originally the model had nipple piercings and smaller boobs. So she had prosthetic outer boobs and then basically a mesh top up to here that had like the tattoos and stuff on it because those aren't hers.
Okay.
So we're now in a weird situation where it looks odd and exposing and just a bit weird, but actually she's covered. So I don't know how I feel about it, and I want you to. Sorry, I've broken Sam.
Because honestly, if she'd had the right size chest, would she have done it? That's my question.
She had nipple piercings, so.
But okay, let's say she did have nipple piercings.
Yeah.
Would she have done it? I just still don't understand the need to design something that. Well, it's the same as the Heidi Klum one. It's all of this. I agree with you. That mesh isn't going to keep her warm, is it?
No.
Wow.
No one's sitting having for dinner with your boobs in mesh and prosthetic nipples. Like, it's a weird place to be.
And even if she knows they're not her real boobs, imagine sitting across the table where the thing that you see is literally the nipple rings upwards while you're having a meal with someone.
But then my second thing for you is, have you seen the dress she wore to present the awards?
No.
It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. It is like a sort of pale grey. It goes across both boobs with a little bit of a cutout in the middle, like sort of to the side, which honestly looks like she's wearing, a head-to-toe onesie by modesty comparison. Like, a few years ago we want to go, oh, a bit risque, but no, not in comparison.
That's quite ethereal. Yeah, that's quite ethereal, isn't it? Yeah.
So I think red carpet looks for vibes. And then change into your actual dress for dinner and award giving. But then I wonder why everyone's changed. Because I get the people changing who are performing. That makes sense.
Yes. Yeah, get
but
that.
I don't understand why you're changing if you're just
then how wasteful is that as well?
But then I think it's because designers pay or like sponsor celebrities to wear certain things on red carpets. Which is, I don't know. But I had to, as soon as I saw that, I was like, I've got to tell her. I've got to tell her this because she won't have seen it.
I needed that follow up. Yeah, I don't know. I don't
know how to feel about.
Yeah, I'll tell you a funny thing.
Okay.
Obviously, teenager in the house, so we know who Chapel Rowan is. My partner keeps calling her Chappelle Rowan.
Deliberately, or because he doesn't know?
He's pronouncing it, and I'm like, you're making her name fancier than it is.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much because the thing is, I kind of want you to just not correct him and that to be like, I want this to come up somewhere else and everyone will be like, what? Who? Oh my God. That is.
And also, I've seen people use her song Feminine Phenomenon, that one,
Yeah.
on Reels, and I'm thinking,
Feminine.
yeah, and I'm thinking, do you really know what that song is about? Because I've had it explained to me by a 17-year-old, so I know. And if you don't know, be careful you're putting it on a reel.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it is. I just can't.
I really love what she does with songs. That's why I almost like I was a bit, in a weird, odd way, I felt a bit disappointed by the dress because I just felt it didn't, and I still don't know how I feel about it. I don't know, but yeah.
But it is funnier now to know that they're not real. Now that's just more confusing.
With my mind, absolutely. On a completely
So
different
fun.
note, I did French seams on a pocket when I made them at the weekend, and it was beautiful.
I cannot support this enough. French seam
Yeah.
pockets are so gorgeous.
Yes.
I'm so happy for you. Can I ask a question to our listeners, which is we're in red carpet season at the moment.
Yeah.
Do you want us to do more red carpet fashion chat? Because I'm so here for it. So if it's like really dull and you're like, oh my God, guys, stop, then I'll just talk about it to my husband who also doesn't want to know. But if you do enjoy it, let us know, because I'm sure Sam and I can have some fun looking at the crazy things people wear.
Yeah. And back to what we said at the top of the episode, which is if you're enjoying this season, this style, we are planning a few guests. There will be a few guest appearances. We're just working on dates and times with them at the moment. But if you're enjoying this, let us know if there's a particular style that we've done before that you'd like. Because Jess and I are always up for just hearing people's thoughts. And also tell us, what did you think of the Chapel Rowan dress? No one commented, and I need to know.
I know. Well, I think I need to put that one out as a reel if we've got it as a short.
Yeah.
Can I please just finish up the episode? Because we've actually this second had a question come through to be answered on the pod. So we've got a listener, and I'm going to keep her anonymous, from our last episode who said, I'd love to ask you both a question and get your insight. In episode 2, you were both talking about sewing and hobby friends. Like Sam and I were talking about the fact that, we've become friends through this and relationships at socials and things and getting to know people. And she says she's wondering how you might recommend making those connections. I mostly interact with the sewing community through Instagram, often more of a lurker, aren't we all, than an active engager. And there aren't really any in-person socials that she can attend without significant travel, which you don't want to do if you don't know what you're going to. That's, a significant burden. So is there anything you guys would suggest to find more sewing friends? Now, I want to turn this over to the queen of making sewing friends, Sam, to give us some ideas.
Okay, so first of all, this gives me a great segue to big up a lady who messaged me today on Instagram, and her name is Debbie. And Debbie reached out to myself and Mary a while ago because she decided she would have a go at setting up a sewing social. Because Mary and I are always happy to help people with that. We're happy to share like our email templates, what we look for in a room, all the things. Mary literally has like a bank of things that she'll happily send, and we'll both reply to questions. So I will use the quote from the 1980s film Field of Dreams: if you build it, they will come. Because
love that use of that.
Yeah. The first thing is there will be other people who will hope and dream that one day something is near them too. So make the most of. There's an app called Neighborhood or something. I don't use it, but I know that it exists. And Facebook, and reach out and see if anyone else would want to get together for a sewing social. I had no idea when I set up the summer social if anyone would come. I didn't know. I just took the risk. I got a bit scared, took a deep breath, and booked one session in the room. and then put it out in all the places I could think to put it. And actually, it was all people locally, first of all, who came. My YouTube was very, very small at the time. So if someone's sitting out there going, oh, but you've got YouTube, wasn't. It was very small. And I just put it out on loads and loads of Facebook groups, and enough people came, and it just rolled from there. But you don't need a lot of people. Maybe just meet them for coffee, or meet in a pub and just sit and crochet and, do little bits hand stitching together. So I know it can feel scary, but Mary and I have now probably helped nearly 10 people do this, and people who've been really nervous. And you can do it. I promise you, if there isn't one near you, we will help you. I've even answered whole series of extra questions that people have asked. I have a video as well explaining how to do it. So that's the first thing I'd say. Secondly, people will travel a reasonable distance to go to a social as well. So don't think there's not many people that live near me.
No, I think it's not necessarily that, though. I think it can be really, really scary to travel all that way.
Yeah.
And not know what you're getting.
Yes.
And also for some people, that's just not, the travel is a barrier. Like they can't
Yes.
take the time to do it. So we have to recognise
But
that.
I just want to say, don't think, oh, I live in a small community, people won't come, because actually some people will travel to come. I think that if you want to make more friends, there are quite a lot of virtuals now. Now, I don't actually, I go on them. It's not my thing, because I like doing my monthly social, but join one of the virtuals. There's at least 3 different ones I know of. We'll name them because it might be helpful. So there is Alison of Sew Like Dotty, who does Sew Virtual. There is the virtual sewing room, which is Jenny, and then Sam of Sew Let Sparkle with Sam, who does hers as well. It's quite a good way to start to get to know people and to get the feel of what it's like. I'm going to do a personal shameless plug at this point. I have a membership on my YouTube channel, and I do virtuals through that as well. And actually, one lady said, can I leave my camera off? And I know all of those people, including myself, are very happy for people to leave their camera off, very happy for people not to talk, to just be silent and exist in the space. And that might be your first step, is just existing. And I think that one lady said to me, I've come to your virtual because I want to practice to build up to going to one in person. So that's a good practice as well. And how have I made some of my friends? I know how I've made some of my friends. This is a bit of a hard truth, but the truth is this, and Jess and I have said this before, no one is going to come and knock on your door. You're going to have to put your big girl pants on, and you're going to have to say, hi, I love your sewing. A little bit of stalking, work out if people are near you and say...
That's what we did. That's how we became friends.
I literally put my big girl pants on, because it was over 2 years ago now, wasn't it? And I just reached out to Jess and said, I've watched your YouTube. I think you live near me. Would you like to come to my social? And I had no idea what Jess would say. But I think that the worst someone can do is either not respond to you or say no thanks. And that's okay, because you haven't got to face them in person. That's the benefit. And I think...
Absolutely.
Yeah, that I was thinking through, like, a lot of the sewing friends that I've made. I was thinking how I got to know Julie, because Julie does not live near the Southern Social. She lives nearly 2-hour drive away. I think we must have just commented on each other's YouTube channels.
Yeah.
And actually,
you did.
I've got to know people really well through the comments they've left on my YouTube channels, people messaging me. Not everyone has the time to reply. People are busy, but I used to comment on people's YouTube channels, and I made friends through that. It does all take a bit of bravery, but it is worth it, I think.
I think as well. No, it absolutely is. And I'm going to throw this out there from the perspective of someone who, I am social, right? But I really struggle in sewing socials, because sewing for me is a solitary activity. It's something I like to do on my own to relax. So I'll go, but it's not something like, there are people who, like, that's their social time, and they sew as a social activity to chat to other people. So if you're like me, you don't have to go to a sewing social if that's not right for you. Like, as Sam said, the virtuals aren't really her bag. You might want to look at, like, sewing meetups, coffees, trips, going to events, people going, oh, a load of us are going to the Stitch Festival. Do you want to come? Or like doing like we're organising a coach trip from our area to go to stuff like that and go look at sewing things because you'll have things in common.
I need to say, some people who come to the Southern Social, other people might think, whoa, they're quiet. It's their personality, and they are very happy and held in the space as the person they are. You don't need to be super chatty or loud. I don't know what all of the in-person ones are like, but that's how I curate my space so people can be themselves. And I actually find other sewing events really quite difficult because I really, really struggle with small talk. I find my social easier because I've got something in front of me that I can do, which means I don't need to be talking all the time. When I go to other events, such as I've been to Sophisticated, Plymouth Frocktails, I actually really quite, this is unfiltered this season. I really quite struggle with those, and I actually struggle a bit afterwards as well. Not because people are not nice, not because it's not nice there. I get quite overwhelmed, and I find them quite difficult.
Same. Yeah.
So,
But this is a perfect example though of how you don't have to be one or the other. You can have things you prefer, you can have things that like, aren't your thing. You try stuff, find out what you like doing.
yeah.
I have a couple of sewing people on Strava because we all run. And it's the most like low stakes, low effort, but I love it because I'm like, oh, that person's done their park run this morning. Nice. And it's just that little extra connection. Or if someone posts something in their stories, message them, talk to them about it. I have sewing friends from stuff I've posted where people have gone, we are very similar like this. Let's talk about it. But we don't have to do super high effort friendships either. Like it's okay to like reach out, have the odd chat here and there. Go for coffee with someone. If you see someone's going to a show that you're going to as well, it's always nice to be like, oh, it'd be great to meet up. Because everyone needs a sit down and a cup of tea at those things. Everyone does.
And can I say, when I say to people, let me know if you're coming, say hi, I will purposely go and arrange to meet people at certain places or whatever, because again, I'm like, it is a bit like a bird in my face. And so I am quite happy to say, oh, I'll message you when we're there. We actually, when we went to Festive Quilts, we met a lady that I'd arranged to meet who I'd never met in person before. I think her name's Kate, isn't it? And we just met up and said hi.
Yeah, which was really fun.
Yeah. Sewing is a great common element, which means you've got something to talk about. And I think that it just makes it easier. It is hard, and honestly, I have had times in my life where I've felt extremely lonely. I've moved all around the south of England, and so I've not really had that chance to like develop really deep nearby friendships until I've lived where I am now. And because I move a lot, I move jobs a lot, it means that friendships of circumstance don't always hold, because when you go, you're not in someone's mind all the time. And I think that it is really nice to have people that you can message and go, I'm really annoyed with this coat when I'm sewing this and it doesn't work. And I appreciate that you want those people, and they will be there. You will find your people. But it
takes time. And also it sometimes is a personality click, because I will say I have met the loveliest sewing people who are really sweet and I can have small talk with, but I have nothing in common with. They have nothing in common with me. We're very much just sort of chatting, waiting for a bus vibe, which we can do, but not everyone who sews, like, just because you all sew doesn't mean you're automatically friends either. Like, I think sometimes we put our pressure on ourselves going, but you're still
it's a good
person.
starting place, but you're right. You will find some people that you click into like deeper chats with. You will find your tribe. And I sometimes meet a lady in Birmingham who it just came through her messaging me and me messaging her, and we just got to know each other. And she doesn't have YouTube or anything like that. She's just a really lovely lady, and we go and meet each other at random places now on the train. She doesn't live near me. I don't live near her. It felt a bit weird the first time. It was like I felt I needed to carry a carnation. But it's just a friendship that formed, and she and I are definitely part of the same tribe. When we meet, we just click. But I didn't know that the first time I went to meet her. I was really nervous because I was like, what if, like, but you just don't know. And you got to take that risk. And it is scary. I have been very scared and very nervous many times. So.
Exactly. But we're going to finish with reminding everyone that whenever you go to an event, if you are a super confident person there with your friend, please look for the people who look absolutely like, oh my God, what's happening and why am I here? Please include other people. We all know what it's like to go to an event on our own. We all know as we get into event season with the Festival of Quilts coming up, with the Stitch Festival coming up, you will if you're at the Stitch Festival, because there's less seating than there is in other venues, if you are taking up a seating space, if you see someone wandering on their own, desperate, trying to sit down with a cup of tea, let them sit with you. If you see people struggling with stuff, have a chat when you're looking at fabric. If you see people who look really overwhelmed as well, it's okay to be like, oh, hi, what do you say? Because we all do have a starting conversation in common. You're not talking to someone on the tube. Like, we do all at least have a reason to be in the room. So if you are at one of the shows, adopt a person and just say hi. Again, as Sam said, the worst that's going to happen, like, even if you say hi in person and the people, and I have had this happen to me. And I was like, oh, can I sit here? They're like, no. And you're like, all right.
Yeah.
No worries. You're never going to see those people again. You're literally not going to. So it's going to be okay. But I also recommend just message people. Sam was like, does anyone want to do a podcast with me? And I was like, yeah, go on. And that's how we're here, like 3 years later. So it does work. But we also thank you for messaging us and for asking us as well. And you do have 2 podcast friends here. So
you do.
I do know
And let's be clear, I'm nearly 50. It's taken me a long time to put my big girl pants on about this.
I am unaware of the location of my big girl pants currently, but I will find them shortly, I'm sure. So this has been an absolute ride of an episode. We hope you guys have enjoyed it. We've certainly had a good time. We will be back in 2 weeks with even more of this. So if you like it, let us know. Rate us on all podcasts. Oh, yes.
It will be getting close by then.
It will. So we will next time tell you all about the giveaway for subscribers for tickets. If we haven't already told you on the Instagram in the meantime, but we'll reiterate it next time. Grab yourself £2 off Stitch Festival tickets with SWNITBT for £2 off, and come and see us at 11 o'clock on Friday at the Stitch Stage at the Stitch Festival, and we will see you there. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Bye.
Bye.